Good morning. Here's your daily tech briefing for 2020-60813. Today we're covering Java, Docker, Kubernetes, Git, Angular, and Cloud, AWS/Azure/GCP, plus the Architect's Corner. Let's get into it. Let's dive into the latest developments in the world of Java. First off, Databricks has just open-sourced Metals v2, their Java and Scala language server. For those who might not know, a language server is a tool that provides features like code completion, debugging, and code refactoring to integrated development environments, or IDEs. Metals v2 is designed to handle large code bases, with Databricks claiming it can handle multi-million-line code bases with ease. This is a significant development, especially for teams working on large-scale Java and Scala projects, as it can greatly improve their development experience. By open-sourcing Metals v2, Databricks is allowing the community to contribute to and improve the tool, which can lead to even more features and better performance. In other news, the Apache Foundation has announced Apache 4e JSON, a new Java JSON serialization framework that claims to be 10 times faster than popular alternatives like Jackson and JSON. JSON serialization is a critical component of many web applications, as it allows data to be exchanged between servers and clients. Faster serialization can lead to significant performance improvements, especially in high-traffic applications. Apache 4e JSON's performance claims are certainly impressive, and it will be interesting to see how it stacks up against established players in the field. Finally, the latest TOB index is out, and it shows Java nearing C++ in popularity, while Rust holds steady at number 10. The TOB index is a monthly ranking of programming languages based on search engine queries, and it's often used as a rough indicator of a language's popularity. Java's rise in the rankings is likely due to its continued widespread use in enterprise applications, as well as its popularity in the Android app development space. As always, it's worth noting that the TOB index is just one metric, and language popularity can vary depending on the context and industry. Nonetheless, Java's enduring popularity is a testament to its versatility and reliability as a programming language. Docker has released a new version of its engine, v25017, which includes several bug fixes and enhancements. One of the key changes is the fix for CVE 2026-41568, a vulnerability that allowed for symlink escape in mount destination creation. This means that an attacker could potentially create a symbolic link to a sensitive location on the host system, allowing them to access or modify files they shouldn't have access to. The fix for this vulnerability is available in the latest release, and users are encouraged to upgrade as soon as possible. Another important fix is for CVE 2026-41567, which decompresses archives before entering the container file system. This change helps prevent potential security issues that could arise from decompressing archives within the container. The Docker team has also fixed another CVE, although the details of this fix are not specified in the release notes. In addition to these security fixes, the new release also includes changes to the engine API. The API version history is available on the Docker GitHub page, and it provides a detailed list of changes and updates to the API. This is important for developers who are building applications that interact with the Docker engine, as it will help them understand what changes they need to make to their code. On a related note, there's been some discussion on Hacker News about minimizing Ubuntu Docker images. A user shared a tip on how to unminimize these images, which can be useful for developers who need to customize their Docker images. While this isn't directly related to the new Docker release, it's an interesting topic for anyone working with Docker images. In other news, Docker has announced the public beta of its VMM, or Virtual Machine Monitor, for Mac and Windows. This is a significant overhaul of the Docker platform, built with performance, stability, and governance in mind. The new VMM is designed to provide a more efficient and secure way to run Docker containers, and it's available for users to try out now. This could be a big deal for developers who rely on Docker for their daily work, as it has the potential to improve the overall performance and reliability of their containers. Finally, Docker has also published a new security baseline for enterprise AI adoption, which defines 6 security outcomes for putting enterprise agents to work without giving them unchecked authority. This is an important topic, as AI and machine learning are becoming increasingly common in the enterprise, and security is a major concern. The baseline provides a framework for ensuring that AI systems are secure and trustworthy, and it's definitely worth checking out for anyone working in this space. Kubernetes has seen some interesting developments in the past 24 hours. First, a team has revived the archived Kubernetes dashboard, updating it from Angular 16 to 22. For those who may not know, the Kubernetes dashboard is a web-based interface that allows users to manage and monitor their Kubernetes clusters. It provides a graphical interface to deploy and manage applications, as well as view cluster resources and logs. The update to Angular 22 brings the dashboard up to date with the latest web development frameworks and should improve its overall performance and security. This revival is hosted on GitHub under the ISM's core project and is open for contributions and feedback from the community. In another development, the official Kubernetes blog has published an article on how to pretty print Kubernetes YAML files as KYAML. KYAML is a binary format for YAML files that's more efficient and compact than traditional YAML. Pretty printing KYAML files makes them more human-readable, which can be useful for debugging and understanding complex Kubernetes configurations. The article explains the benefits of using KYAML and provides step-by-step instructions on how to pretty print KYAML files. This can be a useful tool for Kubernetes administrators and developers who work with complex configurations on a daily basis. Lastly, a new Kubernetes operator has been announced that manages Keycloak configurations. Keycloak is an open-source identity and access management solution that's often used in conjunction with Kubernetes. The operator simplifies the process of managing Keycloak configurations, making it easier to integrate Keycloak with Kubernetes clusters. This can be particularly useful for companies that use Keycloak to manage user authentication and authorization, as it streamlines the process of deploying and managing Keycloak instances within a Kubernetes environment. Let's dive into some recent developments in the world of Git. First, a new project called Greentree has been introduced on GitHub, which allows for caching test results by Git tree rather than by commit SHA. This means that instead of storing test results based on a specific commit's unique identifier, Greentree stores them based on the overall structure of the Git tree. This approach can be useful for reducing the amount of data that needs to be stored and making it easier to manage test results across different branches and commits. The project is still in its early stages, but it's an interesting idea that could potentially simplify the testing process for developers. In other news, GitHub has released its availability report for July 2026, which details 8 incidents that resulted in degraded performance across GitHub services. While the report doesn't go into too much detail about the causes of these incidents, it's reassuring to see that GitHub is being transparent about its uptime and is working to improve its overall reliability. As a developer, it's frustrating when GitHub is down or slow, so it's good to know that the company is taking steps to address these issues. On a more positive note, GitHub has also been promoting its Copilot app, which uses AI to help developers write code more efficiently. The company has published a guide on how to write your first prompt with the GitHub Copilot app, which covers topics such as choosing the right context and model and starting your first task with confidence. This is a great resource for developers who are new to AI-powered coding tools and want to get started with Copilot. Speaking of AI, there's been a lot of discussion lately about the role of AI contributors in open-source projects. As AI tools become more advanced, they're increasingly being used to contribute to open-source codebases, which raises interesting questions about the future of software development. A recent post on the GitHub blog explores this topic, featuring an interview with Nicholas Tyndall, the maintainer of the AutoGPT repository. Tyndall shares his insights on how to manage AI contributors and keep maintainers in control, including setting clear boundaries and guidelines for AI-generated code. This is a fascinating topic that's sure to continue evolving in the coming months and years, and it's worth keeping an eye on as the relationship between humans and AI in software development continues to shift. Angular, the popular front-end framework maintained by Google, has seen some recent updates. The Angular team has released version 21.2.20 of the framework, which includes several fixes to the core and HTTP components. One of the notable fixes is the sanitization of host bindings on concrete hosts, which helps prevent potential security vulnerabilities. Additionally, there are fixes to the HTTP module, including matching header values exactly when deleting, which improves the accuracy of HTTP requests. In other news, the Angular VS Code extension has been updated to version 22.10, which includes several features and fixes to the language service. One of the notable features is the ability to type-check templates, which would previously require inline type-check blocks. This update also includes the ability to compile non-exported classes if they are standalone, which improves the overall development experience. It's also worth noting that the Kubernetes dashboard, which was previously archived, has been revived and updated from Angular 16 to 22. This is a significant update, as it brings the dashboard up to date with the latest version of the framework. The Kubernetes dashboard is a web-based interface for managing Kubernetes clusters, and this update ensures that it remains compatible with the latest versions of Angular. These updates demonstrate the ongoing development and maintenance of the Angular framework and highlight its continued use in enterprise applications, often paired with Java Spring Boot backends or Liferay DXB frontends. As a result, developers working with Angular can expect improved performance, security, and functionality, making it a reliable choice for building complex web applications. Let's dive into some cloud news. Google Cloud Platform, or GCP, has made an update to its Apigee API Hub. For those who might not know, Apigee is a platform that helps companies design, implement, and manage application programming interfaces, or APIs. An API is essentially a set of rules that allows different software systems to communicate with each other. The update allows users to configure and deploy Model Context Protocol, or MCP, servers using the G-Cloud Command Line Interface, or CLI. MCP servers are used in the Apigee API Hub to enable agent integrations. This means that developers can now use a simple command to set up and deploy these servers, making it easier to expose their API Hub operations to other systems. The command, G-Cloud API Hub Locations Configure and Deploy Server, can be used to define MCP tools either directly in the command or by referencing a YAML or JSON specification file. This flexibility makes it easier for developers to automate and manage their API Hub deployments. This update is significant because it streamlines the process of setting up and managing API hubs, which are critical components of many modern software systems. By making it easier to deploy and manage MCP servers, Google Cloud is helping developers to build more integrated and scalable systems. This is particularly important for companies that rely on APIs to connect different services and systems, as it can help reduce the complexity and overhead of managing these connections. For more information on how to use this new feature, developers can check out the G-Cloud CLI documentation for Apigee API Hub, which provides detailed instructions and examples of how to use the G-Cloud API Hub commands. Now, let's shift gears for the Architect's Corner, 5 minutes on real enterprise software architecture and system design. The engineering team behind Text-to-SQL faced a significant challenge in reducing latency and token consumption in their system. Text-to-SQL is a complex application that leverages large language models to translate natural language queries into SQL queries, which are then executed against a database. However, the process of generating these SQL queries using large language models, or LLMs, is computationally expensive and time-consuming. As a result, the team saw high latency in their system, with users having to wait for several seconds for their queries to be executed. Furthermore, the token consumption was also high, which increased the cost of operating the system. To address this problem, the team designed and implemented an intelligent caching layer that uses parameterized query templates. The idea behind this approach is to cache the results of frequently executed queries, so that when a similar query is received, the system can quickly retrieve the cached result instead of having to generate a new query using the LLM. However, simply caching query results would not be effective, as the queries are generated based on user input, which can be highly variable. To overcome this challenge, the team used semantic similarity to match user questions to SQL templates. This allows the system to identify queries that are similar in meaning, even if they are not identical, and retrieve the cached result for the similar query. The architecture of the caching layer is based on a combination of natural language processing and machine learning techniques. The team used a semantic similarity algorithm to analyze the user's query and determine which cached query result is most similar in meaning. This algorithm takes into account the context and intent of the user's query, as well as the structure and content of the query itself. Once a similar query is identified, the system retrieves the cached result and returns it to the user, bypassing the need to generate a new query using the LLM. The results of this approach were significant. The team saw an 80% reduction in latency, with query execution times decreasing from several seconds to less than a second. Additionally, the token consumption was reduced by over 50%, which resulted in significant cost savings for the team. The intelligent caching layer was able to achieve these results by reducing the number of times the LLM had to be called, which is the most expensive part of the query execution process. This solution matters for several reasons. First, it demonstrates the importance of optimizing system performance, particularly in applications where latency can have a significant impact on user experience. By reducing latency, the team was able to improve the overall usability and responsiveness of the system, which can lead to increased user engagement and satisfaction. Second, the use of semantic similarity to match user queries to cached results shows the potential of machine learning and natural language processing techniques in improving system performance. This approach can be applied to other applications where query execution is a bottleneck, such as databases and search engines. Finally, the solution highlights the trade-offs involved in optimizing system performance, such as the need to balance latency and token consumption. By carefully evaluating these trade-offs, engineers can design and implement solutions that meet the specific needs of their application and users. In terms of applicability to other systems, the approach used by the text-to-SQL team can be applied to any application where query execution is a bottleneck. This could include databases, search engines, and other systems that rely on complex query execution. The key insight is to identify opportunities to cache frequently executed queries and use semantic similarity to match user queries to cached results. By doing so, engineers can reduce latency and improve system performance, while also reducing the computational resources required to execute queries. However, it's also important to consider the potential limitations and challenges of this approach, such as the need to maintain a large cache of query results and the potential for cache misses. By carefully evaluating these trade-offs and designing a solution that meets the specific needs of their application, engineers can achieve significant improvements in system performance and user experience. And that's your briefing for today. See you tomorrow morning.